So Kawhi Leonard has re-signed with the Clippers, and it's a 4-year, $176 million deal, which is a bit of a strange one given that he declined his player option. I think it's not the shortest, which would have been a 1-year deal or a 1+1 deal, but it's not the longest, which would have been accepting his player option, then extending for the next 4 years. And then also the final year is a player option, so it's more of a 3-year deal with an opt-out. It means he hits free agency at the same time as Paul George, and it means he'll be on the Clippers for the next 3 years unless they trade him. And I think between re-signing Kawhi to a good deal for the team, which is locking him up for, next 3 years, which is, the first year is going to be injured, but those next 2 years are going to be really good. And then also, it's a bit less money than he could have gotten if he had, done a 1+1. That would have put the Clippers at risk of losing him. If he had done a 5-year deal, that's a lot of money and a lot of years. So I think this works out great for the Clippers. And I think for Kawhi, questioning Kawhi's decisions is a confusing path. So, he gets $176 million. I think he's doing just fine. And then the Clippers also brought back Reggie Jackson on a 2-year, $22 million deal. So between that and Kawhi, I think the Clippers have had a very, very good offseason with their limited resources, of course. Obviously, I don't think they got that 8+ move, which probably would have been a sign-in trade for someone like Kyle Lowry or DeRozan. But I think bringing back Kawhi is obviously the number one priority. And keeping Reggie Jackson, keeping Nick Batum, they have a pretty similar team to last year. Serge Ibaka also accepted his option, so we hope that he can get healthy. And with all that, if I think next year it's going to be tough just because Kawhi is going to be rehabbing, and then I don't think he's going to rush it back. But the year after that is the year I'm looking at, which would be the 2023-24 season. No, it wouldn't. It would be the 2022-23 season. My bad. And with that year, you'd have Reggie Jackson still. Ibaka could be gone, but he could also re-sign after that. Nick Batum, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Zubac, Kennard, whoever's still there. They might have some draft picks. They might have some trades to make. But I think the re-signing of Kawhi sets them up for that for sure. If I think of anything else with the Kawhi re-signing, I guess is he going to be able to play next year for the playoffs? Because, it's a bit of a bummer that he got the ACL injury that deep into the playoffs, because it means that, he probably won't be ready for the playoffs. Also due to a shorter off season, because of the pandemic. For Jamal Murray's injury, who got it in the regular season, you can project that he will be back for the playoffs, and we'll see where the Nuggets are then, but that's going to be a massive boost. And then for the Clippers, they're sort of just left on edge, and I'm sure there'll be no information leaking out of the Clippers or Kawhi's camp as to when he is coming back. So, it'll just be a guessing game. I wouldn't be surprised if he's listed day to day for the whole season, which would be interesting. So yeah, next season is probably washed, but as I mentioned, the season after that, Kawhi has this whole season and next whole season to get ready for those playoffs. Paul George still in his prime. I think that's their year. They also have 3 exciting rookies in Keon Johnson, Presley, I believe, and BJ Boston. So Jason Preston, and you would hope that one of those guys can really pop and become a key rotation player. They also have Terrence Mann. So you'd hope in this year, with it just being Paul George, more roles for the rookies and for some of the young guys on the Clippers, that this could be a good development phase while still remaining competitive, because of course they don't have their own draft pick to get ready for next season. I think that's certainly something that's on the cards. If I talk about Reggie Jackson, I think after the playoffs he had $11 million a year for 2 years is pretty much a bargain. Obviously the big thing is if he's gonna keep his form and stay hot. Obviously, I think we can expect a bit of a cool down in terms of some of the off the dribble isolation threes, but I think in terms of catch and shoot threes, the energy, the quickness, the getting to the rim, the playmaking, being a solid defender, he has like a massive wingspan, which, I was shocked. He's has like a 7-foot wingspan. No joke. He's 6'3" with a 7-foot wingspan, which is a bit crazy. So with most things being real, and then I think he'll go hot and cold with the shooting. I think that's still a good player for 11 million. You would just hope that he can stay healthy and doesn't totally fall off. I think after you have a playoff run like that, I think yes he got hot, but I also think he was able to get to create opportunities. I think when the Clippers go small, it opens up a lot of 3-point shots, and if he can keep knocking him down, and you have Batum who can knock him down, I think it's a good recipe for success. That is also something to touch on for the Clippers is the amount they go small, because they did it for a lot of the playoffs, and you'd imagine, Ibaka's health unknown, Zubac, he'll definitely play, but you wonder if they'll go for a backup center when Zubac's not out there, or if they'll just trust to go small, because I think in the regular season, it might be a bit worse, small ball, just because it takes a lot of energy to play defense with a small ball lineup. And, if you want to be doing that for 82 games, I'm not too sure. But I think, in spurts, 5-10 minutes here, 5-10 minutes there, I think it could really be the Clippers' trump card without Kawhi, where they just go 5 out, they attack the rim, and they generate threes. If I project the Clippers shooting a lot of threes, I think, obviously it means sometimes they're going to get blown out because they're going to get cold, but sometimes they're going to blow other teams out and come back from deficit. So I think without Kawhi, I think they're still a decent team. And then the last thing would be Paul George, how good he is. I mean, will he continue to play as well as he did in the playoffs? Only 2 years ago, he was top 3 in MVP voting last year with the Thunder. So could we see something similar to that? I don't see why not. Maybe not that level, but I think, definitely all-star, all-NBA level from Paul George. And, combine all that, and I think the Clippers can be aiming for maybe the 7 seed, maybe the 8 seed. The high bracket of the play-in is probably a realistic target for the Clippers. But yeah, I think the Clippers have done well this offseason. Obviously, getting Kawhi back is huge. If they have lost him, I don't know what they'd do. I mean, just the long-term future, no ambitions of championships without Kawhi, but they have him also important because they don't have any of their picks. It's all going to the Thunder, so they can't just tank and get a high pick and reboot their team. So yeah, massive. They kept Kawhi, 3 more years of Kawhi on the Clippers, kept Reggie Jackson too, and I think this year they're going to be dealing with the Kawhi injury, but next year I think they really have a good chance. If they get all their guys back and some internal improvement. But anyways, thanks for watching this video, guys. Leave a like, subscribe to this channel for more NBA content, and I'll see you guys next time.